This one tactical change won Man City the game. The Club World Cup champions are back with a win in the Premier League at Goodison Park, winning 3-1 in what was overall a very good performance. But what were the tactical changes that Guardiola made for City to win the game, and what did City do right and wrong in the game, and Everton as well? To answer those questions and more, particularly focusing on Phil Foden's masterclass of a performance, I'll be looking at stills from the game as well as the lineup from the game. And let's start with that lineup, shall we? Because immediately this lineup is wrong. This isn't actually how we set up in the first half. It was more so Foden up top as the more sort of like false nine striker sort of player, Alvarez in the left of midfield. We can see that very early on in the game. There is Alvarez, as I say, occupying the sort of left of midfield zone, actually pulling Tarkowski away, and there is Foden more so in the striker position. What was the key issue, the key tactic with this game was always going to be Everton being very narrow and compact. In fact, quite often it was Gomez who would partner Beto up top when they went to a 4-4-2 without the ball. Very compact, very narrow, not really any space to go through the centre. Similar to how Aston Villa set up against City a few weeks ago. In that game, it was always going to be a question of can your wide players contribute? And that was exactly the same case in this game. That's how City set up. Wide players, Grealish, Bernardo would drag two Everton players at a time. So Bernardo would be dragging Mykolenko and McNeil. Grealish would be dragging Patterson and Harrison. What does that do? That creates space for everyone else, particularly in this little area here, because Everton was so deep. Outside of Beto, basically everyone was behind the ball for Everton. So what did that mean? It meant that if everyone for Everton's basically in the box behind the ball, there is obviously going to be some space there for your long shot specialists to hit, the likes of Rodri and, as it turned out, Phil Foden. So that was basically the game plan. Get the ball to the wide players, gravity, get those players attracted to you like a magnet, create the space for your long shot players. First half was okay. Second half was much better. We'll get into why the second half was so much better in a moment. Let's just go back to that Alvarez example. This is an example of it working. Alvarez in the midfield drags Tarkowski. Grealish does so well. Here is the example of the wide players getting really involved in the creative build-up. Grealish does so well to get past Onana and Patterson. Alvarez makes a really clever run. Grealish is about to play that ball through there. Alvarez, it's a nice flick on. Nunez should score from that position. And because Everton was so deep and City were able to pin them back, it meant that Beto, poor Beto, he actually did okay against the Kanji, but he was left so isolated, so it meant that City's rest defence, what do I mean by that? Basically how City set up defensively without the ball. It meant that they could be really aggressive and push up because they were only leaving Beto back. So as long as you had, a Kanji on Beto to delay the play, it basically meant the City were never in any genuine threat of a counter-attack. Everton created very, very little from open play outside of City gifting them opportunities. Here is one example. This is actually City giving away the ball from a Rodri cross, but look how aggressive Ake's starting position is there, because he can push there, because there is Harrison who would be his marker, but he's so deep he doesn't have to worry about pushing up. So he wins the ball back there, gets it to Grealish, and this is what I was talking about earlier. The wide players creating space just outside the box for long shot opportunities to be created. This is how you're going to get some joy in teams who camp against you. If they are so deep, they are basically inviting those long shots coming in. So it's crucial to have those players who can do that on the pitch. Look at Grealish, does so well. There's at least 2, even 3 Everton players that have been dragged over to him. Does so well, cuts inside. This is what Jack Grealish is fantastic at. He's been doing it all season, all of last season as well. And look at Rodri here. He knows what Grealish is doing. Look at how much space has been created there. Look at all of that for Rodri to hit, and because all the Everton players are back apart from Beto, so it means that space has to be created if a wide player is acting as that magnet. Grealish nutmegs Onana. Again, Rodri is still begging for it, and that is actually a very good chance for a player of Rodri's quality in respect of those long shots. Comes to nothing there, but the signs were there. That was clearly going to be the strategy. Here's another example. It's a good little Foden flick. Finds Rodri, again, takes it first time. It is on his weak foot, but the signs were there. The long shot was going to be how City were going to get back into this game. What Bernardo does here is basically a really good impression of Jack Grealish and what he did earlier. Is actually from a corner as well. Bernardo, look at that. Look at the players that he's dragged over there. What does that mean? Who's in all the space over here? It's Phil Foden. He's got no marker because literally every Everton player is behind the ball. Even better, they are all there. They're all pinned in. It means that Foden can get the ball. I mean, this is a ridiculous shot as well. I mean, you've got... For this strategy to work, you need players who are very good at shooting from distance, very good ball strikers. That's what Rodri is. That's what Foden is, clearly. And that's just a fantastic finish, obviously. But the reason why I was able to get that opportunity was because of the good work of Bernardo in the build-up. And we can see it there. As Rodri calling for it earlier, Foden knows full well. He puts his hand up in the air. Bernardo attracts the player. It's just an unbelievable finish by Foden, really reminiscent of his goal against Dortmund in the Champions League a few years ago. Another example of those long shots coming into play. This is leading up to the penalty. Another corner, actually. Pickford can only punch it away. Foden opts to take it first time because, again, Everton players are so deep and defensive. Inviting those long shots doesn't lead to anything directly, but it does fall to Ake, who wins the penalty. And it is a handball. It's a penalty. Let's not have any arguments or discussion or debate about that. Now, shout out to Sean on Twitter. I was actually tagged in his post. And what he says here does make a lot of sense. Basically, the correlation between the amount of touches Foden gets in the game and the likelihood of City winning that game or not. Which does make sense because it's pretty simple. Football can sometimes be a simple game. Give your ball to the best players. You're probably going to have a better chance of winning the game. If Foden is more involved in the play, City in general this season play better. But until I looked into it myself, I didn't realise just how true this statement is. So again, shout out to Sean for the inspiration. So I've gone, this is all data from Opta. What I've done is I've gone back to every single game that Foden has started in the 23-24 season. How many touches did he get? What was the result? What position did he play? Did he get a goal or assist? How many key passes did he register in the game? Now, there is a very clear and distinct pattern here. If Foden gets at least 70 touches, not only do City win without fail, he also registers at least one goal or assist so far this season. In general, the less touches Foden has, the less likely Man City are to win. There are some outliers. For example, the Sevilla game where he got 69 touches. We did win on penalties, bit of an outlier with it being the Super Cup final. But in general, 50 touches, only 50 touches against Wolves, only 56 against Arsenal, only 50 against Liverpool, only 47 against Palace, only 32 against Aston Villa in what was, without a doubt, our worst game of the season. What a coincidence. That's the game where he's the least involved in the play. That is City's worst performance of the season. And look at the amount of key passes as well, and look at how it correlates to the position. 0 key passes only happened when he wasn't playing in midfield. Against Wolves, 0 on the right. United, 0 on the right. Liverpool, 0 on the right. The correlation is clear, and in this instance, the correlation does equal causation. You play Foden in the midfield, you get Foden on the ball, you get the wins, or you at least do not lose, essentially, or he registers a goal or assist, or he registers a lot of key passes. This is not a hard concept, and the eye test is supported by the data. This isn't something that can be disputed. This is an objective reality. The positions, by the way, there is a bit of, not controversy there, but it's a bit of difficulty because sometimes he did play a hybrid role, but I've done my best to try to accurately assign the positions. But this is just so clear. So that's from a seasonal perspective, and also just from an isolated perspective against Everton. First half, this is Foden's touches from the first half. This is fine. Second half. We played much better in the second half. Coincidence that Foden gets more involved in the play? I don't think so. In particular, look at the amount of touches that Foden gets in the second, in the defensive third and in our own half. So second half, the tactical change was that Foden went to the midfield and Alvarez went to striker. That was what won City the game because that got Foden more involved in the game. And he actually was so brave and mature in his game in that look at all those touches in his own half, wanted to get involved in the build-up play. This is a great evidence marker, which is supported by that table from earlier, in an isolated game as well. Just from a half perspective, we played fine in the first half, but we were much better in the second, and this is basically why. Here are some examples of Foden's fantastic build-up play, the majority happening in the second half. Ball breaks here, it's a loose ball, second ball, Foden, fantastic little touch, gets Nunez up and running. This is in the second half, crucial point of the game where City are currently drawing, got back into it. Foden, who is in the more advanced midfield position, wants to come back and help out his team build up because Everton were getting better at pressing as they lost their lead. Really simple layoff back to Rodri. Get City away. Another example here. Foden's actually there, but he's going to come really deep to receive the ball from Rodri. What does he do? Does what he does best. He turns, evades the Everton players. This is the 72nd minute. City are back in the game, 2-1 up. Crucial point in the game where Everton are really going for it in terms of their high press, because they obviously have to, because they need to get back into the game. Again, Foden, the advanced midfielder, what does he do? Look at how deep he is. Look at how he demands the ball. He wants that responsibility and he wants that burden. An incredibly mature performance by Phil Foden. He doesn't panic here. He evades Onana too easily, to be honest, and he gets Rodri away, and City are able to get up the pitch. Nice little deft flick here for Kovacic to run onto. This is from FTBL on Twitter. Look at the carries, in particular, look at the progressive carries from Foden. It was just such a mature, fantastic, disciplined performance from him, and as complete a performance as you could really want in the game in that second half. In particular, and the confidence was just flowing through him clearly. I really like it when Foden just has the confidence to just whack the ball. It's such a shame this doesn't go in because it's a fantastic strike, just hits the post. This in the 91st minute, so the game's basically won at this point. City are 3-1 up, but look, he still wants to take that burden and responsibility. This is very Bernardo Silva of him, by the way, to drop deep like this and shoulder that ball-carrying burden. He's surrounded by Everton players here, turns out of it, gets City away at the pitch, evades that challenge. Again, City are away. Another example here, 93rd minute. Once again, asking the ball. Look at how deep he's dropped to receive that ball and take that burden. Once again, the little cheeky half turn and the run and the carry, and City are away. He actually ends up producing a shot here. Why not? Full of confidence. You win in the game anyway. Forces a decent save from Pickford. A masterclass by Phil Foden. That is why he's been our best player this season. Very briefly, I'm going to touch on the Akanji situation and then the mistake that City made for the goal. Stones went off injured. Very sad times. Akanji, in the second half in particular, I thought was really good in the midfield, in the John Stones role. So I just want to give a little bit of a shout out to him. Here he is on the ball, intercepts that really well, takes it here, again, calm as you like, on the weak foot, plays it into Gvardiol. A really nice cushioned ball. Here he is again, stepping up into midfield, helping out Rodri, shows for it. And here, this is such a really tricky ball for anyone to make. Never mind Akanji with his weaker left foot, swinging it out away from those Everton players. I just thought that was a really nice ball out to Bernardo Silva on his weak foot. And again, it's a similar one here. Once again, Akanji receives the ball. First time, weak foot, finds his right winger. I just thought Akanji played really well, and I thought it was a nice disciplined performance from him, controlled in the midfield when he was on the ball, and if Stones is out for a long period of time, we are going to need him to step up and do that. Very briefly, the goal we conceded, it is an individual error, so there's not too much to really analyse. Rodri makes two mistakes, in my opinion. First of all, gives it away here. City get the ball back. Is it the best ball by Akanji? No. Is it the best touch by Bernardo? No. In fact, he ends up falling over. All irrelevant. Rodri gets the ball back and he decides to play a really nice through ball into McNeil. I can't really explain that. It's an unforced error by a player who we normally associate with being so calm and disciplined on the ball. But I'm not going to have a massive go at him. And I actually thought throughout the game he actually played quite well, to be honest. So that's the game. City, in my opinion, deserved winners. Thanks mainly to Phil Foden's unbelievable play, in particular in that second half. If we continue to utilise our best players in their best positions, we have a very good chance of winning the Premier League. Play your best players in their best positions. Give your best players the ball as much as you can. Again, the correlation equals causation in this instance. You give Foden the ball, the more touches he has, the more involved he is in the play, the more likely City are to win football games. When De Bruyne comes back, we've got to figure out a way of getting De Bruyne and Foden into the midfield at the same time, in my opinion, if we want this City side to be the best it can be. Thank you so much for watching. Really hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like on the video. If you'd like to go the extra mile and want your name in the credits of all my YouTube videos, then do consider becoming a YouTube member to directly support me. It does really help and allows me to continue making videos for you guys. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time.